Yo, what's popping? I am continuing my series looking at teams after their kickoff class performance into the midseason madness. Now, on the Atlanta Reign, 7th seed, 3-3 with a +1 map differential. Don't know what that 4 is on the graphic. Couldn't tell you why that's there, but it is. So, if you're interested in my thoughts on their kickoff class qualifiers, I did do that in a video in their first round matchup against Florida, which is above, in the little card thingy. So, take a look at that if you're interested. But anyway, we go right into it. So winners round one, they play the Florida Mayhem, and this was I expected this to be close, and a lot of people have predicted Florida, right? Because Atlanta were coming off of 2 tough losses, and they were looking a little shaky. They come out strong with a reforged mental, and they beat Florida pretty handedly. Florida did have, I think their last map was close on the push. I don't remember completely. It's been a while, but it was pretty solidly Atlanta. Winners round 2, they make the upset over Shock 3-1, and pretty convincing win there too. Winners round 3, they get smoked by the Gladiators 3-0. It's not really close. They just get demolished. And losers round 4, they get pretty rolled by Dallas, not to the same extent as they got rolled by the Gladiators, but it was solidly Dallas. So this roster, Gator and Hawk are your tanks, with Gator being played about the same as Hawk. Hawk a little bit more. Their DPS are Kai, Nero, Venom, with Kai being all the time, Venom coming in with Gator a lot, and Nero staying with Hawk. Of course, Nero is playing with Gator a little bit, and Venom has played sometimes with Hawk, but not a lot. And their supports are the rookies, OG, and UV. They do have Speedily. He is not of age until the final stage, though, so not looking for that yet. So why did this team come third? Why were they unable to get past Dallas or Gladiators? In the case of Gladiators, they were just a dominant team and had a better read on the meta and were more flexible, right? That's the story for them the whole time. So that's what they list the Gladiators. The Gladiators just know what they want to do, and they know how to stop them doing from what they want to do. Meanwhile, against Dallas, you know what Dallas are going to do, and Dallas are going to play their game. They're going to brute force their way through. They're not like the Gladiators. They're not flexible. They know what they're doing. And Rain knows what they're going to do too, but they couldn't break it. Their rush, a team known for their rush last season, not the same this season. Their rush has not looked as good. They haven't played it as much. Maybe haven't scrimmed it as much. It wasn't looking great. They don't run it as much. And then they try to mirror Dallas in the Zarya duel. You're not winning that. Dallas are just more cohesive and stronger on the Zarya comp, right? So you're not going to win that mirror, even though Hawk did look great. And Atlanta looked solid on the Zarya comp. Dallas looked phenomenal, right? They're just a tier above everyone else. The mirror is not going to result in a win very often. And then, yeah, so... Sorry, there's like fireworks outside or something. So, why did this team lose? I think that they practice the Doom comp the most. Doesn't work out as well. They need to opt off it. They look good on the Zarya comp, good enough to beat most teams, not enough to beat the 2 best ones. They beat Shock because they do have a handle on the Zarya comp. They did look better on the Doomfist comp. And they made it very hard for Shock to play the Winston comp. They really focused out Kaluj. So they had the tools there. They didn't have the tools against Gladiators. They didn't have the tools against Dallas. Next stage, they might have those tools. We'll see. Meta shift could be a lot of things. So their schedule next stage. Week 7, they play Boston, Dallas. Week 8, they play Vancouver, Shock. Week 9, Houston. And Week 10, Paris. So Paris and Vancouver should just be wins. Just straight up should be wins. Boston should be a win as well. Dallas, probably a loss, right? And then Shock is probably a toss-up for me. Will Shock come back with a vengeance? Maybe. Will Shock come back stronger? Maybe. I do trust Shock's coaching staff more than Atlanta's if there is a meta shift. That being said, they didn't have it this stage. So it's hard to say. And Houston, we'll see. I think Houston could surprise. And Atlanta seem to be more playoff performers than qualifier performers based off of their record, right? And throughout the years even, like they've showed up in the playoffs a little bit more than they have in the regular season. That's not a bad trait. It just means more likely to play against in the regular season, probably. But I see this being a 4-2, 5-1 maybe even. But I do think it could be a 3-3 again. You could see Houston getting an upset there. Could see Boston they're a team on the come up. I don't know if they're there the first week, but we'll see. But I think the biggest question mark for this team is their shock game, right? We'll see who pulls ahead of who. Shock, maybe a bit angry. Maybe they're trying to be more flexible. They're going to flesh out their rookie roster more. Houston, a team, we'll see if they start riding the Doomfist or if they're going to give Piggy some more playtime or what they're up to. But I think I would pred a 4-2 or a 5-1 victory, or like win for this team. I don't quite believe in Houston enough yet. But if this team can maybe fully flesh out their Gator roster, it's looking pretty good for it's looking good for them moving forward. And that's pretty much all I have. If they flesh out that roster, there shouldn't be any problems. OG and UV have looked phenomenal. I don't have no problems with them as rookies. All right, we've seen no real nerves or anything. Venom, same thing. He's looked great. Kai, I thought looked a little bit weaker in the qualifiers, but in this tournament, he just popped off. He was looking great, and really excited to see him put up the work. And if the trend continues of looks all right in qualifiers and looks phenomenal in tournament, that's all you're asking for a player. It's not like this is going to be a team that's going to struggle to make the postseason, probably, right? If this team falls below top 5, it doesn't really matter. They showed it. It doesn't matter what seed they are. They were the second lowest seed in this tournament, and they finished 3rd. They don't care about their seed. It doesn't matter. When it comes to the postseason, they will turn on. Happened last year. It's happened years before. This whole their team like synergy, their team environment causes them to peak at the right times, and that's what matters the most. If they lose the game to Houston Outlaws, does it matter? Not really. Alternatively, you see they play off their egos. If they suffer a bad loss in a week, maybe the rest of their week is a little shaky. Like they lost to Dallas, get rolled by Glads. Now they got rolled by Glads anyway, but they did look better. Even though they got 3-0, they did look better. But the Glads also look better, so it's hard. But yeah, dangerous team, very dangerous team. Probably the biggest X Factor team there is, like in the tournament bracket. You can never count them out completely. Against most teams, against like your Dallas Fuels, your LA Gladiators, you could count them out. I don't feel 100% comfortable, even though I am an Atlanta hater. Known Atlanta hater, they're a good team. So that's gonna be it for me. Have yourself a good one, and deuces.